Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the secrets of corporate filings to bring you the real story. And today we are diving deep into Gates Industrial Corporation PLC's annual report for 2025. Get ready because this report is packed with numbers that might just paint a surprising picture of this global manufacturer. And before we jump in, if you love getting these unfiltered insights into what companies are really saying in their filings, make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on, plus join our community over on Discord, link down in the description below to keep the conversation going. Alright, let's get straight to it. Gates Industrial Corporation PLC, a company known for its power transmission and fluid power solutions, has just dropped its 2025 annual report. And the first thing that jumps out is the overall financial health. Their total equity saw a significant jump, climbing to over $3.6 billion at the end of 2025. A nice increase from around $3.3 billion the previous year. This growth in equity is a positive sign, generally indicating the company is retaining earnings and its overall net worth is increasing. Now, let us talk about the top line, the sales. In 2025, Gates brought in $3.443 billion in net sales. That's a small but steady increase of about 1%, or $35 million from the $3.408 billion in sales in 2024. It is not explosive growth, but in today's economic climate, holding steady and even inching up is often a win. The company is seeing modest growth led by the automotive aftermarket, which is a good sign as this is often a resilient part of their business. Things are a bit different on the original equipment manufacturer or OEM side, which saw a decline. This suggests that while individual consumers and repair shops are still buying parts, the big equipment manufacturers might be slowing down their orders. Looking at their two main business segments, power transmission is the powerhouse, if you will. It accounted for nearly 62% of their sales in 2025, bringing in over $2.1 billion. This segment actually grew by 1.9% year over year, driven by price increases, which means they are successfully passing on some of their costs to customers. The company notes growth in personal mobility, agriculture, and industrial on highway sectors, which is great, but automotive channel sales are down, particularly in Greater China and Europe. The fluid power segment, which makes up about 38% of sales, is a different story. It saw a slight dip of 0.3%, bringing in just under $1.3 billion. This decline was primarily due to lower volumes, meaning they sold fewer products, and some movement in currency exchange rates that didn't help. While pricing helped offset some of this, the overall trend here suggests some weakness, especially in industrial on highway and diversified industrial end markets. Now, adjusted EBITDA is a key metric for Gates, and it reflects their profitability before certain expenses like interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, along with other adjustments. For 2025, Gates' adjusted EBITDA was $770.1 million. A slight increase from $761.1 million in 2024. This is good news as it suggests the company is managing its costs effectively, even with some revenue headwinds in fluid power. The power transmission segment is showing strength here with a healthy increase in adjusted EBITDA and a slight expansion in its margin. However, saw a small decrease in its adjusted EBITDA and a very slight drop in its margin, mirroring the sales trend. The company explicitly states their profitability improved supported by solid cost management. This is a crucial detail. It means they are not just relying on selling more but actively working to control their expenses, which is exactly what you want to see, especially when top-line growth is modest. Let's talk about debt. Gates has a considerable amount of debt, and while interest expense decreased in 2025, that is largely because they refinanced some of their debt and received benefits from derivatives. The company paid down some principal on their term loans, which helps, but they still have over $2.2 billion in debt. The company mentions that a significant portion of their debt carries variable interest rates, meaning they are exposed to rising interest rates, which could increase their debt service obligations. Now, let's consider the risks. Gates operates globally, and this brings a lot of potential headaches. They specifically call out US policies, actions, or legislation as a significant risk area. Think tariffs, trade restrictions, and general economic instability tied to foreign relations, with almost 40% of their revenue coming from the US. Any major policy shifts there could really impact their business. They are also subject to the usual international risks like economic and political instability, currency fluctuations, and complex foreign laws. Another big concern is the supply chain. Gates relies on outside sources for many key manufacturing inputs like steel, rubber, and chemicals. They don't have long-term price contracts, so they are exposed to volatile raw material costs. Recent global disruptions and inflation have made this even more challenging. If they cannot pass these cost increases on to their customers, their profit margins will suffer. And of course, no modern company report is complete without mentioning cybersecurity. Gates acknowledges this risk, noting the increasing sophistication of cyber threats, including those amplified by artificial intelligence. They've got teams monitoring systems 24/7 and a whole program in place, but as always, no system is completely impenetrable. A major breach could disrupt operations, compromise data, and seriously damage their reputation. The good news is that they are actively investing in improved protection and have cybersecurity insurance. Looking at the bottom line net income, Gates showed a solid improvement in 2025. Net income from continuing operations came in at $277.1 million, a nice jump from $220.5 million in 2024. This signals better profitability, which is always a good sign for shareholders. This improvement seems to be driven by a combination of factors, including that higher effective tax rate in 2024 compared to 2025, and potentially better cost control. Circling back to the sales, the company is quite diversified across products, channels, and geographies. No single customer accounts for more than 10% of their sales, meaning they are not overly reliant on any one big client. That's always a good buffer against risk. The company also emphasizes its enterprise risk management process, overseen by their board of directors. This suggests a structured approach to identifying and managing potential threats, which is reassuring. So what is the story here? Gates is navigating a complex global landscape with a mix of strengths and challenges. They are demonstrating resilience by growing sales slightly, improving net income, and actively managing costs. The power transmission segment is performing well, showing strength in pricing and specific growth areas. However, the fluid power segment is facing some headwinds. And the company's substantial debt means they need to be mindful of rising interest rates. The global nature of their business also exposes them to significant geopolitical and supply chain risks. Warren Buffett would likely look at the modest sales growth and say, okay, not a rocket ship, but are they earning enough on their investments and managing their costs? The improvement in net income is a positive, and the fact that no single customer dominates their revenue is a big plus for stability. However, the debt load is a point of attention. They need to ensure they can service the debt comfortably, especially if interest rates continue to be volatile. The company's focus on cost management and its diversified approach are smart strategies in this environment. The story is one of solid, if not spectacular, performance with a clear focus on operational efficiency amidst global uncertainty. That's our breakdown of Gates Industrial Corporation PLC's 2025 annual report. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description to keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you next time.